Hey, what's up? DFS Rico coming at you with my picks and insight for this KBO 5-game slate on Friday, May 15th. Obviously, we got a 5-game slate as always. It's going to be for that really early slate if you're staying up late to play this. If you're not, I recommend looking at like older lineups and just building your lineups based off of that and hoping that they do start. But I'm just going to give you my input on players that I like today, starting with the pitcher position. But before I get started, if you can like, subscribe, comment, really do appreciate it. And thank you. Let's get started. So for pitcher, I'm just going to name off a couple pitchers that I do like, just due to their matchups. It's more so for matchup instances. I do like Kwan Yu from the Do Tigers versus the Doosan Bears versus the Kia Tigers. The Kia Tigers actually lead the league in strikeouts as far as being struck out, and it's by a lot. It's about by like 20 strikeouts. So I know Kwan Yu didn't have a good game on his first match. I mean, he has 9.2K, which is kind of pricey. He didn't have a good game in his first game, we'll tell you that much, versus KTW. Had 5 earned runs, but I do like him in this matchup. He did get priced up. I'm assuming it's because the matchup's kind of decent, so I do like him. And then, so I will plug him in right there. I do like him. And then I do like Dan Straley a lot. I know he went out there and dominated his last time, so a lot of people will probably be playing him. Went out there and pitched a really good game. I mean, he threw 94 pitches, 40 fantasy points. Even looked decent in his first game out there. He only went up 300 in another really good matchup with the Hanwha Eagles, which have the second fewest runs per game, the least amount of home runs in the league by a couple as well. I think they only have like 4 home runs so far. And then they're like in the middle of the pack of strikeouts, but he's been playing really good, Straley. He has a 1.42 ERA, 9.2 Ks per 9 innings, and he's been pitching about 6.5 innings, so he should be getting you that win if they do win. So I do really like him. I like pairing them two together. I know they're kind of pricey, but I'll go through some of the other pitchers that I do kind of like. And one thing if you play baseball, you just want to pick on pitchers. It's usually where you play the bats against the pitchers you don't like and kind of just go from there as far as your teams that you're going to play and your hitter positions at least. But for pitchers, I still do kind of like Jae-Hak Lee. He's looking pretty solid. He's 9.7K though, so he's super pricey. I'd much rather just pay down for Kwan Yu, which has about the same amount of strikeout ability in a better matchup against a team that's not as good in my opinion. Although the SK Wyvern aren't that good either. They've scored the lowest runs in the league so far through the first couple games. I know it's only been like 9 games or something like that, so I know it's not too much, but it still shows you something. So I do like that matchup. I do like for the LG Twins. Where is he at? Right here. Chan Hyung Jang. I know these names are kind of crazy, but the KIW, I mean, I know they were coming into the season pretty hot. People expected them to be pretty good. They haven't been looking that good. They actually have the second lowest batting average. So I do like picking on them early on in the season. I think they'll start picking it up later on, but they aren't playing that well right now. And then for Samsung against KT Wizards, I do like them as well. The KT Wiz, I do like them as well. But really, these two guys are my favorite pitchers, picking on Kia Tigers and Hanwha Eagles. But these other pitchers I named, it's a good, just if you're going to go a little deeper into GPP or something. I think those have some decent upside, in my opinion. But yeah, just know baseball's a really volatile sport. So, I mean, any of these guys could come out and pitch a terrible game, and you can have some of these pitchers that no one expects in tougher matchup versus like Doosan Bears, and just somehow he pitches a good game. You just never know in baseball, so you got to be very careful with all that stuff. And now I'll just go through a couple stacks that I like. I do like the Doosan Tigers. They lead the league in batting average with 3.30 batting average as a team. They're first in runs. They're first in hits. They're second in home runs. Everybody's been playing them. They're really good. In smaller tournaments, I do like playing them. GPPs, you could maybe fade away from them a little bit, not completely, but they are pretty good. And I'm just going to go through a player that I do really like from them. He's first baseman and outfielder eligible, which is right here, Jae-Hwan Kim. He's probably their best player so far early on in the season. 4.419 batting average, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs. He's first in the entire league with his OPS is 1.384. He's actually the highest in the league, which is his on base plus slugging percentage. So he's getting on base and he's bringing people home when they're in scoring position. So I do really like him. Backing out, I do really like him at the first base or outfield. So I'll just plug him in at first base right now. I do like him. Like I mentioned, I do like the Doosan stack. When you're stacking against pitchers, you obviously in baseball, you want to stack, correlation guys. So you want guys close to each other in the lineup. Like if the guy that's batting first and second in the rotation are getting on base, you get the guy that's batting third. He could bring them home, and you're getting points for all three of them. So in baseball, you really want that correlation between your hitters. And one thing I've noticed also early on, the best hitters on the team are usually the 1 through 6. You rarely see the 7, 8, and 9 hitters really produce anything. I've been seeing sometimes you'll get some like the 7, 8, 9 hitters, the catchers and the DH. Not even the DH. They're just honestly scrubs. It seems like those are like the worst players on the team. They haven't been playing too well. So I'm really looking at stacking the 1 through 6 hitters when I am stacking my lineups. I usually like to play like 4-man stack or a 5-man stack. Sometimes even a 3-man stack works. It just depends what you can fit into your lineups. But try to plug in as many 1 through 6 hitters in your lineup. In my opinion, is what I usually do. Catchers usually where I just pay down if I can, and just I'll play some cheaper catchers just so even if they're in the 7, 8, and 9 hole, sometimes you'll have to do that. But yeah, so I do like the Doosan Tigers. I did plug in Jae Kim, and then I also like the Lot Giants. They've been looking pretty good. 3.307 batting average, 56 runs. They're second in the league in runs, third in home runs. And then the guy I want to highlight on this stack, if I am playing them, at 3,600, I think he's just too cheap. Scrolling down, 3,600, Asyup Sun. He's practically been their best player all season, and he's priced below most of their players, honestly, which is kind of absurd. I mean, he's 0.407 batting average, 1.098 OPS, leads both of those stats on the team, and he also leads the team in RBIs. So I do really like him. I'm just going to plug him in. I mean, you don't have to play all these guys together. I understand if you're going to be stacking, you might. But these are good one-offs, and I feel like they're core guys that I would make sure I include into my stacks if I am playing them. And then for the LG Twins, I do like them as well. 3.01 batting average as a team. They're third in runs. They have the most doubles in the league by about 6 or 7. They lead the league in doubles. They're not the best. They don't have the best power, but they do get on base a lot. And it all starts with Hyun-Soo Kim right here, which he is in a good matchup also against the Kiwoom Heroes. So I do like him. Going to be plugging him in. He is pricey, 5.3K. Like I mentioned, you don't have to stack all these guys together. It might be kind of hard because these 3 teams are probably 3 of the best teams in the league, other than the Dinos, which you can play them as well. But 4.55 batting average, third in the entire league, 1.227 OPS, leads the team. Doesn't have that much home run power, like I mentioned, but they are a good team. They get on base. They bring guys home, whether it's through doubles or singles. They are bringing guys home. They are scoring. Like I mentioned, they're third in runs. They're just not hitting the ball out the park. But if they start hitting home runs, you're going to have yourself a really good team, a really good stack right there. So, yeah, those are the teams I'm looking at. But another thing I do want to mention, I was looking at the weather on my KBO stats. I've been using that site a lot. The Lot Giants and the Hanwha Eagles are looking like they might be rain delayed. And then the Doosan Bears, Kia Tigers, these 3 teams all have, these 3 games, they all have weather issues. It looks like they might rain, so be very careful with that. Maybe just closer to before you go to sleep if you do that, or when you wake up, build your lineups. Just know that these games are capable of getting rained out. So like the Lot Giants versus the Hanwha Eagles, Doosan Bears versus Kia Tigers, Samsung Lions versus KT Wiz. 3 games. I know we had this, I think, last Friday as well happen, and they don't play them. They just get canceled out. And There wasn't any delays. They just canceled all 3 games, so be very careful when you are building your lineups. It might be safer if you just do the Dinos and then maybe the LG Twins like I mentioned, but be very careful when you are building your lineups tonight. But yeah, that's kind of my core early on. My pitchers I mentioned, the hitters that I would build around if I am stacking these teams. But yeah, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Give me any feedback. Thank you.